Episode 492, Nothing But the Truth.
Mark covered his face with his right hand. He was a fool for thinking this would be a quiet meeting with Edgar, Katrina, and Kate in the same room when they hated each other. "Duke Collins, that was uncalled for," he said. Mark was ticked off by the fact Edgar did not look remorseful about what he said. Instead, Edgar wore a calm expression, like he did not just start a fight. He understood Edgar's animosity toward the two women who hurt his wife, but would it kill Edgar to be normal for at least an hour? An hour of peace was all Mark was asking for, and then they could all go back to fighting each other. "I disagree. I thought the moment called for it. Life works in an odd way, doesn't it? Where karma does not skip anyone," Edgar mused, as Kate might need to borrow Alessandra's old masks since she was so prideful about her looks and now she was wounded. It would help for him to offer the cream he got from the palace, but why waste it on someone who needed this moment to feel exactly what life was like for Alessandra? The rumors he once disliked about Alessandra being cursed would make an appearance again to haunt Kate, who would now be called cursed. He cared less about what Simon did with Kate than he did about Bella. Edgar had much more in mind for Kate if she was involved with Simon wanting to take Alessandra. First, he had someone to get rid of. Edgar looked at Katrina, who looked like she wanted to jump over the table and strangle him. For a woman who came from the red light district, one would expect her to have a better heart. "Apologize," Katrina ordered Edgar, as his words were insensitive to Kate. Why did they all feel the need to mention Alessandra when this was about Kate? Kate was the victim here. "Not even my mother could get me to do such a thing. How about this? If you get down on your knees before my wife, apologize for how you've treated her, then rot in hell, I will apologize to your daughter," said Edgar. Duncan shook his head at Edgar's suggestion, which no one in their right mind would ever agree to. "End this conversation now." Mark smacked his hand on the table to get their attention. "We are not here to talk about your personal issues with each other. We are here to talk about Simon, and it is rude to Bella and her mother who are present. Stop arguing, or I will also throw you out, Duke Collins." Edgar was fine with that. When would anyone realize that he wanted to be at home? He had more important things in his life going on that he wanted to witness. The only good part about coming to the court today was the fact he got to miss out on Alessandra's going to his mother's home. She wanted to visit Priscilla for once, instead of her always visiting their home. He sent Reed and all her other guards to keep her safe. It might give his mother trauma seeing his guards entering her home again, since the last time they were there, she was taken to his dungeon. Edgar came to learn that Dominic, for some reason, would be visiting his mother with Heather. "Now we can get started. We've gathered a lot of information after searching Simon's home. The notes he made in books from the time he was a child until now. We've placed his parents back in their graves and buried all the servants. There were 2 servants who wrote down what they saw Simon do, and a lot of it aligns with what you told us." Mark looked at Bella. Bella was helpful with writing down everything she remembered the moment she got home, so she wouldn't forget even the smallest detail, and sent it to the court as soon as she was finished. Not all of the young ladies Simon killed had been placed around the town for him to toy with the court, and with all this new information, they found 2 young women the court was hoping were not a part of Simon's case. "Marchioness, you had an inside look at his house. Is there anything we should know? Do you think there was anyone aside from the servants who helped him? We need a list of visitors during your time there." said Mark. There's nothing more aside from the fact he showed me his dead parents on our wedding night, and the only visitors we had were the Scott brothers. Dale and Kyle are their names. Dale seemed all right, but Kyle gave me a bad feeling. Kate honestly spoke. It was up to the court to make a judgment if Kyle was innocent or not. I know nothing more. He did not speak with me like he did with Bella. I see, Mark answered, but he felt like there was something more. Why would Simon reveal what he was doing just to keep her in the dark? Why hide something when Simon was long dead, unless there was something that involved herself? Mark looked at Edgar, silently giving him permission to go ahead with what he wanted to do. Mark wanted nothing but the truth uncovered in this case. It had left the kingdom unsettled for months, so he wanted everything to come to light and eventually put it to rest. I looked around at the books Simon left behind. He detailed all of his plans from the beginning right until his end. He wrote down how he would end this game he started. I'm particularly angered by the fact he intended to take my wife, Edgar said, ignoring Kate's expression for now. She wasn't good at hiding the fact she did not want this to be revealed. Bella cocked her head to the side, confused by everyone continuing to mention Simon writing his plans in books. He once told her about the things he wrote in a book as a child, but he never mentioned continuing to write now. Bella had started to feel like Simon replaced the book with her and kept telling her all of his plans. So what was Edgar talking about now? It was possible for Simon to keep some things from her, but still. Bella now looked at Kate, wondering if she had forgotten about Simon wanting her sister. That was something important to be mentioned. I continue to be angered by the fact there is mention of someone in this room plotting with him to take my wife, Edgar revealed, finally looking at Kate, who looked like she wanted to disappear from the room. A little lie would get her to confirm what he already knew about Kate. He wanted the court to witness her behavior. Were you trying to escape or help him get more victims? Kate's body suddenly felt cold. She was not told about Simon keeping track of his plans. She would have made up a story to protect herself if she knew. Mother? She looked to her right at her mother. She wanted her mother to speak in place of her. Kate didn't. Edgar quickly interrupted Katrina. If she forgot to tell the court, she forgot to tell you, so you cannot answer for her. Unless the two of you made plans to exclude things that would make Kate look bad, there is a punishment for that. Were you aware that Simon wanted to take your sister? Mark asked, hoping Kate would feel more comfortable speaking with him than Edgar. It's understandable if you knew but could not do something to warn your sister. We understand your predicament. Kate didn't know what to answer. She couldn't say that she didn't know since she and Bella had talked about it before, and Bella might call out her lie. He talked about taking someone close to me, either my mother or Alessandra. Why Alessandra? You dislike my wife, so him taking her would not affect you as taking your mother would. Did he want you to be like him, by taking someone you disliked and have you punish them? Or did you tell him to try taking my wife? Which is it? Edgar asked, his voice raising with each word. He saw right through Kate, who did not have the heart to change and not target Alessandra when she was going through something so harsh with Simon. Wasn't it enough that they ruined Alessandra's life up until the point she got married to him? Kate hated Alessandra so much, she would plot with Simon to take her, instead of looking for ways to get away from Simon. Kate dug her nails into the palm of her hands once more. Simon always believed that Alessandra and I cared for each other. He didn't know about what happened in our youth. I swear.
And what happened in your youth, Kate? I thought you and your mother said nothing happened between you and Alessandra in the past. Is there something you want to tell the court now?
Edgar smiled, as Kate had admitted to trouble between her and Alessandra in their youth. It was the start of him trapping her, just as he had done with her husband.
Perhaps I have been too harsh on a victim.
He decided to back off for now.
After all, Ida didn't raise you well.
Katrina stared at Edgar in shock after he called the name she had buried long before she came to Lockwood. How? She panicked.
Ida? Who is Ida, Duke Collins? Is there something the court is not aware of?
Mark asked. Edgar looked amused, while Katrina seemed worried. There was a new battle between the two, and Mark was not aware of what caused it. Edgar had found something to get under Katrina's skin, but he kept it to himself for now. The court would not punish Katrina and Kate the way he wanted them to be punished. He was going to have a mind game with the two of them, and looking at Kate, he didn't have to do much to break her. The Duke is just spouting nonsense that has nothing to do with this meeting. We must move on before more time is wasted, Katrina answered.
Ida is...
Enough, Katrina exclaimed to interrupt Edgar from revealing whatever he knew. He had to know so much about her since he knew that name. Duke Collins, I will speak to you later to settle our differences. We must not bring up things that have nothing to do with Simon.
I don't know if I can agree to that. I feel the need to talk right now.
Edgar smiled. Katrina gritted her teeth, angered by Edgar toying with her once again. Wasn't it enough that he picked Alessandra over Kate, killed her husband, and cut her face? She had been hurt enough for him to stop trying to ruin her life. Wasn't Alessandra happy by now? Was Alessandra still holding on to the past like a fool when everyone else had moved on? Katrina didn't know how Edgar suddenly became aware of her old name. Randall could not have been so foolish to tell Edgar, as what he had done with her in the past would have gotten him thrown into a cell right beside her. Then again, Randall sometimes was a fool who could be easily won over by money. Like everyone else in the room, Kate was confused about the battle between her mother and Edgar. Kate was clueless about the name Ida, but for some reason, it felt familiar.
Let's move on,
Edgar decided in the end. He had enough of seeing Katrina panicking for now. He had enough time to drive her crazy before making her live out punishment for what she did to Alessandra and the people she hurt before marrying Desmond. Kate was already starting to live out her punishment with her wounded face, and Edgar sensed something off about her. She was not her usual cocky self, and he couldn't place if it was because of what happened with Simon that she was acting differently, or if something else had happened. Call him evil, but he hoped she would never recover from what Simon put her through. Kate wasted the chance for Edgar ever to feel sorry for her. She was a person who could never admit to her wrongdoings, and kept pushing at Alessandra, who rarely spoke of her old family. Mark knew they should move on back to the topic of Simon wanting Alessandra. But Now he was curious about this Ida person. Why did Edgar have to stay silent now when he didn't hold his tongue other times? I think this is a good time for me to interject. Bella spoke up to help bring the meeting back to being about Simon. She was now curious about the relationship between Kate, the Duchess, and the Duke. She was picking up from Edgar's hostility that Kate wasn't as good as she was portrayed to be. Simon told me about wanting to bring the Duchess in the room with me. He kept saying it was a gift for Marchioness Kate. Bella did not want to believe that Kate would have helped Simon bring her sister into that horrid room. How could someone hate their sibling so much to help Simon take them? Bella could not see Kate as such a person. She could never stomach helping to save someone who would hurt their sister. Bella had her issues she was looking to fix slowly, but if Kate had truly started to help Simon, there might not be any possible way for Kate to change. Kate was already turning down the offer for the two of them to come together and heal from this experience. And most of the time, Kate didn't want to speak about herself and Simon. Bella snuck a glance at Kate, and their eyes met for a moment before Kate had a mortified expression and looked away from Bella. Kate's actions made Bella believe that there was more to what happened between Simon and Kate, which infuriated Bella since they should tell the full story about Simon. Still, Bella couldn't bring herself to hate Kate. Bella knew what it was like to be a bad person and did not realize it at first. At least right now, something was weighing Kate's mind, and Kate might finally tell the court everything about Simon, even if it would place her in a bad light. After he got married, Simon also wanted me to get married, which meant he might have been looking for a man to take, Bella revealed. Kate turned her attention to Bella once more. What if Simon wrote about her picking Kyle in one of those books he left behind? What would happen to her then? Why couldn't Bella have just remained silent? Kate touched an area of her chest that started to feel tight. It was becoming hard to breathe, and her body felt cold despite the fact that the room had been warm when she first entered. I want to leave, Kate requested. While conflicted about her actions, she was nowhere near ready to speak about Simon. She didn't think anything she did was wrong. Simon was the bad guy who would have taken Alessandra, not her. Kate was troubled by her heart and mind not agreeing with each other. She could not say she had done nothing wrong without a strange feeling building up in her chest. Then there was the faint sound of Simon's voice, laughing at her, calling her the evil he left behind to ruin the town. I want to go back to my room, Kate said louder since no one had heard her the first time. No, I want to go home with my mother. I don't want to speak about Simon or anything else concerning him for now. Please, she pleaded with Mark. There were too many voices in her head for her to be able to focus and lie about Simon wanting to take Alessandra, which had nothing to do with her. Edgar also took advantage of her state and made her slip that something happened between her and Alessandra. It is time she goes home and gets over this experience. Hasn't she suffered enough by being married to Simon? And then you have Edgar painting her to be Simon's partner in this madness, and none of you in this room stopped him, Katrina angrily said, as the men in this room were useless. We are going home. Katrina stood up. Isn't she supposed to be hiding her face? There are a lot of people outside the court. I'm afraid I have no mask to offer her right now. I wonder if the town would think that
foolish curse Alessandra was said to have moved on to you, Kate. What do you think?
Edgar asked. Surprisingly, the court was more fun than he thought it would be today. Perhaps it wasn't a bad thing to have left home for this. Katrina leaned forward to reach out to hit Edgar, who was taunting her daughter.
Katrina!
Mark exclaimed, standing up to stop her. Edgar remained still in his seat, not fearing Katrina attacking him.
Ida would not want you to attack me,
he said, causing Katrina to stop with her hand in midair.
Not when I know all of her secrets,